minutes. All right, we will start the North Canton Planning Commission meeting of November 6th, 2019. Can I have the call to order?
Mr. Sarah.
Present.
Mr. Delpez.
Present.
Mr. McLeister.
Here.
Mr. Fleckner. Mr. Volas.
Here. Okay, the first order of business tonight will be to review the October 2nd Planning Commission meeting of 2019. Do I have a motion to accept?
I move that we accept the minutes as presented.
A second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Mr. Sarah.
Yes.
Mr. McLeister.
Yes.
Mr. Delpez.
Yes.
Mr. Volas.
Yes.
Okay, tonight we have an adjunction hearing. It's application number 19, NCB PC-00014. It's a conditional use permit for an indoor recreation facility to include an interior build-out of a tenant suite for the use of an indoor baseball, softball skills development field, and will be located at 339 East Maple Street. This is a mixed-use overlay. If anyone speaks, we need to have them sworn in, right?
Correct.
So we want to do it individually or as a whole?
As a whole.
So if anyone wants to speak tonight, please stand and you'll be sworn in.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Thanks, everyone. So do we have someone from the developer, the architect, or the owner present tonight? Can you come to the podium and state your name and address?
Yeah, Dennis Rondo. My home address is 1010 Merriman Road in Akron.
Okay, and
I'm Brian Grafton, FMD Architects, and the address is 2841 Riviera Drive, Fairlawn.
thank you. Can you explain what you're looking at doing at this
Yeah,
facility?
Okay, DBAT is a very fast-growing franchise for training children on batting, pitching, catching, and basically our clientele is 8 to 12 years old, and they come with a parent. We intend to be pretty busy here, but baseball is, is a popular thing in Ohio, and we train the children, and mostly we'll have some high school, but very few, most of them that age group. And the busiest times would be after 4:30 at night till 9, and on Saturdays and Sundays.
Just a brief note on the architecture as well. So we are going into an existing suite on the second floor of 339 Maple Street. We've got pretty much no solid. And it is an existing tenant suite that the landlord is providing, so a lot of the HVAC, lighting, things of that nature all fall under that category as far as questions in that line.
And on DBAT, the company had 55 locations at the beginning of last year. They've opened 30 this year. There's 90 now, and 40 more waiting to open. It's been a very popular thing among the schools. And we'll deal mostly with coaches in various schools, to tell them about our presence and what we do.
Okay, thank you. Marty, was there anything that you saw in reviewing their proposal?
Yes, thank you. Staff did meet with the applicant and design team before.
Okay. Should I sit down, or you want to stay here?
How about now?
Oh, why don't you stay for?
Okay, sure.
Okay. Staff met with the applicant and the design team before making application as recommended by the ordinance. The project, as we understood, included an option to do birthday parties in there. That's why we're here tonight. The property is zoned limited industrial with the mixed use overlay. If we did not incorporate the birthday party option into the project, it would be an outright permitted use. With the party option in there, it's a conditional use under the mixed use overlay.
As far as the birthday parties, it's usually a limit of about 15 children. They made it in advance, and we bring in pizza for them. Nothing's prepared on the center, and basically, nothing's prepared in our facility. And as I say, we bring in pizza and a birthday cake if it's a birthday, and usually the people attend with a parent, and there'd be no more than 15, and they pay for that. And usually they coach. I mean, we have coaches that teach the children, and if the particular person that's coming for his birthday, his coach would be there. And those are usually held on Saturday or Sunday.
So the birthday parties would be held at what, like in a lounge area?
We have a committed room, a party room. It's about, how big is it? 18 by 24, approximately. And basically that's used for birthdays and meetings for the staff, the children that come in with the trainers may bring in a group because they're going to be playing against another group from another school.
Oh, I see it on the drawing now. It's actually labeled as party room number 106 on the drawing there.
So the only concern that we discussed in the pre-application meeting was the compatibility with the existing uses there. Sorry about that. The compatibility of the existing uses. You got to be real close to these microphones. And the architect responded, I believe it was the architect, correct me if it wasn't. Somebody responded from the applicant and design team side that the layout of the floor plan was purposeful in providing a buffer for mitigating that sound for the adjacent tenant, BWC, the Bureau of Workers' Compensation. So provided that's addressed, staff recommends approval.
What's addressed? I can't hear it in here.
The sound mitigation from the sounds, noise, potential noises produced from the proposed use, whether it be from music or, the bat hitting the ball.
Yeah, the only noise that you really get is the bat hitting the ball. And all the walls will be insulated and soundproofed.
Okay.
And, we've got a 25-foot ceiling, and basically, the noise is absorbed into the location.
Yeah.
And we don't anticipate any problems with any of the tenants.
We'd also like to note, on the eastern side of the party room of this entire space, there is a fire corridor separating the DBAT tenant suite from the adjacent
The people, yeah, the additional tenant.
so there is some additional space. It's not a shared common wall between the two spaces either.
Right.
So we took that into consideration as well.
And half of that is manufacturing, not an office, a small office there.
The fire departments reviewed this?
The fire department has reviewed it. I normally have a letter from them, but I don't have one tonight. So the fire department and I walked the project, I believe after the application meeting that I referenced earlier.
And they're comfortable with the means of egress out?
They are. We did walk the existing means of egress as part of that walkthrough with the landlord. The projects, from a code standpoint, is fairly straightforward. Let me clarify, building code, we're talking a couple different codes here. So from a building code standpoint, it's straightforward. From the zoning code, still fairly straightforward, except it requires a conditional use permit. Again, the reason for tonight's meeting.
And we are on the second floor. I don't know if anyone knows that.
Say that again.
We are on the second floor, meaning you enter the building on the second floor.
Questions from the commission?
I guess I did have a question. So you mentioned that there will be insulation with the walls.
I mean, they're insulating the walls and sheetrock, so the noise is limited within our.
So is it just standard insulation, or are these insulated more for the sound? I guess I was just, and I realize,
The sound.
thank you for providing the times of, generally after 4:30 and over the weekends, but, so there, you don't anticipate any disturbance with the offices that are there with the noise coming
Yeah,
from
it's
the?
minimum offices. Most of the building is manufacturing, except the front half of the building,
Right.
but that's not.
You guys abut the Bureau, the BWC, don't you?
Pardon?
Don't you abut the Bureau Workers' Compensation?
Yes, they have offices there.
Okay.
But there's a hallway between us
Okay.
and them, so we're not directly abutted to them.
Okay.
It would be R13 bat insulation, friction fit between a 3 and 5/8 inch stud. Sure. It'll be 3 and 5/8 studs with R13 bat insulation, friction fit between, and that'll be on all office walls, not just the immediate abutting walls between
Okay.
DBAT and deviation suites.
Okay.
Tom, I have a guy. Jimmy, you done?
Yeah.
You mentioned that this is a franchise
Yes, it is.
opportunity for you. Do you run this business anywhere else in Northeast Ohio?
I basically had the largest drugstore I owned personally for 41 years. I had a facility doing $350 million out of one location. And
Yeah, I'm having.
I had a facility, a pharmacy that did $350 million in one location. Very familiar with all of this. And I also was a Planet Fitness franchisee. I owned the franchise rights for Charlotte, North Carolina. And our average facility was 25,000 square feet.
So I had a little bit of a hard time hearing. Do you have this business anywhere else?
No,
So this is your first
that's correct. It's very
Franchise.
similar to Planet Fitness.
with
though.
this company?
That's
right?
correct.
In your business plan, how much of your business is predicated upon doing private parties
No,
versus,
that's,
versus?
that may be 10 a year. It's basically, the birthday parties is just something we offer the members, for the kids, okay? And they're going to be between 8 and 12 years old.
So,
And they usually be done on weekends.
just so I understand, Marty, the conditional use is for the private parties, not for the primary use, which is batting cages.
That's
That
correct.
conforms, right?
That's exactly right.
Okay. All right. I have no further questions at this time.
Anyone else from the commission? Anyone?
I think one of the benefits that you have in this situation where your landlord is the same landlord of those that would share the facility, that typically when you have that situation, if there's, something, if there was a complaint about the noise, each of you are dealing with the same group of people, and it tends to resolve rather quickly instead of having an outsider as the go-between.
Basically on the parties, that'll be about 2 or 3% of our revenue. It's not a big thing. It's just parents like to bring their kids, to get together with the other children of their age in the same schools or other schools.
I walked the site today with the landlord representative and looked at the area where they're going. And yeah, they assured me that the way that you're designing it with the, kind of like the party room and the offices separating the tenant is going to muffle the sound with the other tenants. So they felt very comfortable. The landlord representative felt very comfortable that it's not going to be an issue.
And if you look at the plan, the party room is very small as compared to the overall facility. And it's tucked in where our office is. You know, I'll have an office, and the other two owners will have an office. So it's really in the back. You know, the noise is not going to even get into the hallway.
Thank you.
And to clarify your question, Commissioner Volus, the batting cages used for professional training is a conforming use for the limited industrial. It's the party type of function that falls under the mixed use ordinance that requires the conditional use.
So Martin, the athletic training falls in, it's just the party use.
Right.
I mean, basically, if you look at, you know, when you say athletic training, it's really for children. You know, it's not for adults. We have very few people that come in. It's basically children 8 to 12, and that's it. You know, and it would be very popular in this area. Everybody wants to be a baseball star when they're 12 years old or 10 years old.
Are there any representatives from the landlord or the adjacent tenants in the audience?
Is there anyone from the public who wants to speak on this? Approach the podium and state your name and address, please.
Should I sit down?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Chuck Osborne, 307 Fairview Street, Southeast, North Canton, Ohio. It sounds like this is going to be a done deal. I see they've gone to considerable expense with all the drawings and everything, and I sympathize with them. Upon hearing of this in the last few days, I went to a local competitor. For one thing, this is obviously a very competitive field. There's a DBAT located in, Solon, yes, thank you. I did look at their website. There's actually a similar use facility up on Apple Grove near the Sheets up there called Velocity. And I went into the facility last night, and I only stayed 6 to 8 minutes. You ever hear a 100-mile-an-hour baseball off of a aluminum bat? It's like a gunshot. I couldn't even stay in there. If all they're putting in is just regular residential with 2x4 studs with just insulation, I predict you're going to have noise issues. I would think you need to put in some substantial soundproofing. I don't know what this does to the rest of the surrounding spaces. I did talk to Bureau of Workers' Comp today. They're expressing sympathy to whoever eventually leases the place below them. So our code here is to protect not only, property rights in general, maintain property values, and also, you know, the serenity to enjoy your property. And we normally think of that in terms of residential. But also business needs to be protected as well, so they're not harmed. And Workers' Comp also told me today that they've had noise issues with the industrial activity on the northeast corner. I just can't imagine what this is going to be. You're sitting there quietly at your desk trying to focus and concentrate, and this is going on. That's my number one concern, is protecting the fellow tenants. And like Mr. Sarah, I think, brought out, you would think the landlord would make sure it's not going to disturb his fellow tenants. That's to be seen in the future. Secondly is safety. You've got kids running back and forth across East Maple there. So those are my two concerns. a few parties a year doesn't change this. It's just the nature of the whole mix. You're just trying to put dozens of different uses in the same bag of tricks here, and I can only equate it to Bitzer Park up there, where we've got memorials and military memorials, and now they're wanting to put in an amphitheater. How many uses can you pile on top of each other? So anyway, I'm concerned about if the landlord, and the problem here is, once this is in, it's in. You start finding out you have noise issues. So I would think you would be proactive here and be especially attuned to possible noise issues. I don't know what your proposed lease is. I don't know how many years you're on board there, but at any rate, that's it. Thank you.
If I can respond, because this is an adjudication hearing, those that are speaking here are to offer evidence, and they're here to offer evidence for the board to consider this application. It's clear that Mr. Osborne does not speak on behalf of the Bureau of Workers' Comp or for the landlord, so I would caution the board to look at that if the representatives with knowledge of tonight's hearing haven't presented themselves and offered their own concerns, that someone on the belief on their behalf just take that as the weight of what's being offered.
Well, correct me, we have an ordinance on nuisance, but that pertains to the neighborhood, not to a development.
That's correct. Normally, as I had mentioned, when you have this type of scenario with a multi-tenant lease, that's something that you have the ability to go straight to your landlord. If your landlord can't remedy that with you, normally there's the ability to remove yourself from the lease or seek some type of remedy from your landlord.
Right. Yes, anyone else from the audience care to speak? Go ahead. And I'm going to take the gentleman in the back.
So I just wanted to speak with David Leach, LEACH, the Cornice Company, 3200 West Market Street, Akron, Ohio. We're the builders for the project, and I just wanted to just maybe briefly speak a little bit on the sound question. If you go to the drawing up above, these are all cage nets, so these balls are not going to be hitting walls. They're going to be hitting nets. So there will be impact from the balls on the bats. All the floors are going to be in those areas are going to be a turf product that's sound deadening, and also rubber floors in any of the walkways, which is also sound deadening. So we're taking great care to to make sure that we are sensitive to the surrounding tenants at all, and that's something that was discussed with the landlord previously. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure, go ahead.
One thing first, that basically the community, the DBAT has gone in. I've been researching this for a year, and it's an asset to the community. You're giving a very safe place for children to go and spend time. It's whether you're going to the boys' club, the girls' club, or something like that, it's very safe. And as far as the construction, we intend to spend almost $1 million in equipment, noise deadening, the way the place is designed. So we really feel confident that this is going to be a success in this community, and also give an outlet for children, a safe place to go. So as far as the noise, I know that it was brought up about going into other locations and hearing the noise. No one spends the kind of money we do on a facility. Some of the other competition around here, they're not built like ours. You know, they don't put the money in it. You know, they may put in $200,000 into a facility, but they don't have the nets that is noise deadening. And the balls, as Dave said, they hit the net, but they don't hit any hard surface. And you will get a ding when they hit with a bat, but really, you can't really hear it outside the nets. It's something that you hear in a baseball field. You know, it's nothing destroying to anybody. We've been in there, and we've had no complaints from any of the tenants. They all know what we're doing. They all know the type of business we're going to run, and they're pleased with that, you know, because it's going to be a first-class business, not manufacturing and not noisy. And as far as the safety going across the street, now, I'm handicapped, as you see, and, you know, they have the lights there. It's very safe. You push the button, and you get the first priority across the street. I'm not concerned about that, because you'll be going with your parents, you know, a father or a mother or whatever, and I think it's a safe place for them. The parking lot is well lit, and I think it's a safe parking lot. And I think if you went back on the city and said any crimes committed in that parking lot, I don't believe there have been any. So it's a safe place, and a safe place for the children. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll just make a comment. If this didn't have the party room, this would be approved, and we wouldn't be talking about the sound issues. And that's per a code that was approved by previous planning commission members and previous council members. This is approved under a mixed use for the batting cages. We wouldn't be talking about this. So personally, I don't think we need to waste our time talking about the soundproofing. That's an owner-tenant issue only. This is about the party room.
Good point.
Good point.
Anyone else in the public wants to speak? Up at the podium, please. State your name and address.
Patrick Wilson, 412 Adena Street, and I just wanted to know where the entrance is going to be for the children and the customers coming in.
It's on Maple Street, you know, where the new part of the building is constructed.
So the same entrance where Alder Care and Bureau of Workers' Comp currently.
That's right.
So are they going to share that same parking area then?
Same parking area. There's 850 parking spaces there.
Okay.
And we're busy, and they're not there.
Okay.
You know, I mean, we're busy, and 20 parking spaces, maybe. And
Okay.
most kids go back to school, and their parents. And the entrance is across the street, into the lobby, and an elevator, and stairway going upstairs.
Okay. All right. That's all. Thank you.
I take it you were able to get that? Yeah, okay. And everyone heard? Okay. All right, if there's no one else wish to speak, what would the commission like to do?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. McLeister?
Yes.
Mr. Volas?
Yes.
Mr. Sarah?
Yes.
Mr. Dalpace?
Yes.
Okay, so it's been approved. Is there any other business from the commission? Okay, I'd like to hear a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time.